anyone who really cares probably already knows this information that Janemba is the next character. It was leaked by Major Nelson himself. That's right. Remember when you played games on the Xbox and you would get little videos where you would see Major Nelson? Major Nelson still works there, and he does this little update thing for Xbox called Inside Xbox. And what happens is for Goku Day, he talked about Dragon Ball Fighters because there was new updates coming to the game. Now, releasing Goku GT on Goku Day was a great call because Goku GT is like the ultimate amalgamation of Goku because he can either he fits the role of both Kid Goku and Goku from the GT saga, and he does it with flying colors. He really is the perfect Kid Goku character who fills both roles of both Kid Gokus. Able to go Super Saiyan 4, able to do the Dragon Fist he did on Demon King Piccolo, but he also did that same Dragon Fist to Android 17. Able to do, use his power pole, which he doesn't really do in GT. But he does use a stick pole thingy in one episode of GT. I think he's when he's in hell fighting. It might be wrong. No, it might be fighting someone else. But either way, this it's a very good character, and the way he plays, he zips around the map with his reverse Kamehameha. You can do some really crazy shit. He's also extremely tiny. He's the smallest character, much smaller than Gotenks even. So really, this is a kind of character that honestly was kind of necessary, kind of needed for Dragon Ball Fighters. Now, when I say needed, I mean what's not needed is another character who just fights really well, like Bardock and Vegeta. We already have plenty of those, and I do think Gogeta will be another variation of a rush down, like great medium range character, but I don't think we need anyone else like that. In fact, part of why I wanted a character like Kefla is because I thought she would probably have some really cool projectile trapping style moves because of the way she can uh, generate so many ki blasts. I kind of thought like it'd be kind of like if Vegeta had no rushdown elements and she was just like pure, just ki blast craziness. That's what I was expecting for Kefla. But now that we know that it is Janemba, well, I want to go ahead and say this, that the color theory, we can basically throw that out the window now that we know, because it is Janemba. I mean, there's no reason why Major Nelson, of all people, this old man who probably doesn't even watch Dragon Ball Z, would say Janemba's coming if if Janemba wasn't coming. Like, there's no way someone at Xbox just decided Janemba was coming. So they knew that Janemba, they already knew, someone at Xbox already knew that Major Nelson, or not Major, that Janemba would be playable at one point. It's probably the next DLC character. It's probably not happening yet. It's probably happening later. So, I mean, there's no way someone just made that up, okay? Like, Major Nelson said it himself. So, it's happening. It's Janemba. That's what's happening. Now, the thing is about Janemba, it seems like with this DLC, they went with characters that were really, really highly requested and popular. It seems like characters like Kefla or Master Roshi, who you think would make a lot of sense to be characters, aren't happening until a possible sequel, or it'll have more fleshed out characters. I do believe there'll be more characters from Super and more characters even from Z who will appear. And I honestly think that people who play the Dragon Ball Legends and Dragon Ball Dokkan Battle mobile games might have some good ideas of what to expect coming down the road. Um, I having Janemba honestly kind of makes sense because we got two movie villains with the season one DLC with Brawly and Janemba. So it makes sense that we get at least one more movie villain. I know that Dragon Ball Super Brawly counts as a movie villain, but to be fair, we already have a Brawly, and also that movie like just came out last year, and honestly, it was only a few months ago. It was only in December, and I mean, honestly, people really want Gogeta Blue a lot, and it kind of makes sense to do Gogeta Blue with Brawly. But it's cool that Janemba's coming because that is the villain who fought Gogeta originally for the first time. And I would love it if Gogeta got one color, just one color, that made him wear his classic black and orange vest instead of the new black and yellow one that sort of resembles what Gotenks wears. I mean, Gogeta Blue basically wears what Gotenks wears, but he's like bigger. And Gogeta originally had like this very kind of different design for his version of when Goku Vegeta fused, and it could be a lot of fun. It could be really cool. So hopefully, I'm really hoping they have a dramatic finish for if you beat Brawly with Gogeta. But honestly, I would love a dramatic finish for Gogeta Blue beating Janemba. But we don't know. But either way, Janemba, he's kind of like if we had to talk about a movie villain after Brawly and Cooler, then it would probably be Janemba. He's probably the most popular outside of those two. And with Gogeta coming, it is kind of cool. So I will now talk about what kind of character I think he will be. Uh, and that is, I don't think he's going to be. Some people have talked about how Trunks has a sword, but I don't think Janemba will fight like Trunks. I think Janemba will fight more like Goku Black, if anything. I think he'll have like a sword slash key attack, but that's really it. You have to remember he kind of has like a Frieza like alien body, So I don't think he's going to, do something along those lines. I think he's going to have like tail attacks, kicks, and mostly fight like a mid-range fighter. Mostly fight similar to, honestly, you could expect something similar to like what Kid Buu has, or something along those lines. I think his sword attacks will be more similar to how Goku Black has them. Like Goku Black just kind of has them for his heavy. He has it for like an aerial physical attack. I think he'll have that. But I don't exactly think he'll be a rushdown character. I'm honestly think more like Frieza, but with like Zamasu's mediums, like Zamasu's normal attacks. Thinking like Zamasu and Frieza style character put together. But even with some Goku style teleportation, I think one of his moves might even just be a teleport, because teleporting is such a unique factor about him. So yeah, I really think Janemba will have some weirdness to him, but he might just be like a weird. He might be like Jiren, where he's mostly just kind of like a rushdown character, but he's got it's like weird attacks to him, weird combo finishers and stuff like that. I think Janemba will have weird combos. So if you want a character who just gets in and kicks ass like Vegito and Goku Black, I don't think you're gonna get that here. I think you're gonna get this is gonna be a little bit different. But since Janemba is such a fan favorite, I'm just happy for those people who really wanted him. When season 1 was a thing, a lot of people were asking for Janemba. And I remember a lot of people were asking for Gogeta as well. And I remember thinking, like, I didn't really want Gogeta or Janemba. I thought it was stupid. And back then, I didn't want Super Saiyan 4 either. And now we kind of have Super Saiyan 4 with Kid Goku. And now we have, Janemba and Gogeta, which I'm fine with. I'm fine with all this stuff because this is season 2. And that's fine. So, now, I want to, before in this video, because there's not much else to say about Janemba, I know, sadly, we probably won't get a stage where we fight in hell, and I feel like they really need that stage, not just because Janemba, but that stage should have been in the game anyway, like a stage based in hell. And usually a stage based in hell, they kind of do the Janemba design with all the big, like, jelly bean-like shapes all over the place. And plus, it looks really cool anyway. So sadly, we're not going to be getting that. But either way, what do I have to say about the DLC? Season 1 were hype characters that were kind of necessary, that all kind of made sense. Like Bardock and Brawly were by far the two most popular movie characters ever. As far as non-canon characters go, they're probably the most popular non-canon characters ever. So, putting them in the game makes sense for them to be DLC and not just in the base roster. Fused Zamasu and Vegito, both again kind of make sense because everyone was like, Vegito needs to be playable, but it would be kind of weird to have Goku, Vegeta, and Vegito all in the game, and it would be weird to have Fused Zamasu in the game because he's immortal. Like, how do you justify that? Well, you justify it by making him DLC, so it's not that big of a deal. Next up was Goku and Vegeta. Again, it's another Goku and Vegeta, so having 3 Gokus and 3 Vegetas in the base game would have been kind of weird. So, again, makes sense for them to be DLC. I think most people were really upset by it at first, but luckily, I think people really took a liking to both of them because they had some weird tactics to them. However, I think the updates have kind of made them less important. I know everyone likes Goku Blue now, which, I mean, honestly, Goku Blue should be considered a force to be reckoned with. I mean, when you think about the tier list of like how strong Dragon Ball Z characters should be based on the show, Goku Blue should be a force to be reckoned with. So, yeah, I mean that makes sense to me. But and also Super Saiyan Goku, I believe he is much better now too, and that's another one that really deserved it. He really should have been uh, buffed. So yeah, a lot of characters. Oh, and like Tien's been buffed. People really like Tien, and which is good because Yamcha's really popular. So now you can have Tien versus Yamcha, depending on what playstyle fits you more. So that's good. That's good. That's all good. But then the last two characters were Cooler and 17, which I remember Cooler being pretty good. I remember liking him, but he's kind of just a character I like to mess around with. He's not a character I want on my main team, my main bread and butter team. I don't want that. And most people agree 17 got pretty stiffed. I mean, they definitely disrespected 17 when they finally added him in. I was pretty upset by the final conclusion with him. But so if we look at these new DLC characters, these season 2 characters, Videl and Great Saiyaman were both really popular, and people wanted Great Saiyaman more than Videl even. And so what they did was they said, hey, if we put Videl in, we can kill two birds with one stone, because we can make Great Saiyaman part of her moveset. This makes sense in the same way that Android 17 from the past is a part of Android 18's moveset. Android at 17 is also a playable character, but he's a different version of Android 17 from a different time period, and he plays very differently. He plays his own way. With Videl, that works perfectly, because then you can have Gohan as an adult as her partner, but it's a Great Saiyaman version of Gohan. And it all works out. So, because of that rule with 18 and 17, it really works with Gohan and Videl as well. And to me, you can't have a Videl moveset without something like the Great Saiyaman being a part of it. You know, to me, Videl and Gohan are just too iconic as a duo. So this is perfect. This is perfect. I really love that they did that. She's the first character that has an alternate costume. There is no other character who has one so far. Janemba is not going to be the someone who has an alternate costume. And with Kid Goku, you didn't need to give him an alternate costume. All you had to do was give him a color scheme. And honestly, when you see him wearing the red colors, or the red-orange colors, with the power pole, they make his skin a little bit lighter tone. It looks perfect. Both GT Goku and Kid Goku colors ideas for Goku GT is perfect. I'm really happy that they did that. It's really cool that he fights in his normal form just so that he represents that, but also gives him the Spirit Bomb, which is something he does in GT. But it's again, when you have a character that's Kid Goku all the way to from Dragon Ball to GT, you get all the Z stuff in between because a lot of that Z stuff was in GT. So like I said again, it represents everything Goku. GT, Goku, even in the show GT, represented both versions of Goku. So here's the thing. With Jiren, yes, they just kind of put him in because it's Jiren. He's the biggest, baddest villain right now. And he's kind of a popular choice for that reason. When it came to Videl and Saiyaman, they did it to kill two birds with one stone because people wanted both. People wanted Saiyaman more, but they wanted both. In this case, people wanted Kid Goku from Dragon Ball more than they wanted Super Saiyan 4 Goku. So, to kill two birds with one stone, they did GT Goku as a kid, which, I mean, of course he would be a kid. And they made it so that way he can go Super Saiyan 4, he can do Spirit Bomb, he can do Super Saiyan 4 when he does a Super Kamehameha, which I like, and he has the power pole. He does things that Kid Goku would do. Reverse Kamehameha. That's something that Kid Goku would do as well. So this was a way to kill two birds with one stone, of putting in Kid Goku as well as Super Saiyan 4 Goku all into one character. I only hope that for a sequel to FighterZ, they include real Super Saiyan 4. I would say that I would rather have Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta than Gogeta from the movie, from the Janemba movie, but now that Super Brawly exists, I would much rather have something like this. I'd much rather have Gogeta Blue than Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. In fact, I think Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is completely irrelevant. Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta himself wasn't really that much of a big deal in the show. I think all that really mattered or ever mattered was Super Saiyan 4 Goku. But even the way Goku fights in GT, Super Saiyan 4 isn't always just the way he solves his problems. I mean, when he beat Omega Shenron, it wasn't because he turned Super Saiyan 4, you know. That when he beat Android 17, yes, he fought Super Saiyan 4, but that, he did the Dragon Fist to him in his normal form. That's a big part of everything. So, while Super Saiyan 4 is really cool transformation, having it be just one move is fine. To me, it still feels like a missed opportunity to have something like Super Saiyan 4 versus Super Saiyan Blue. But this is a really good idea. I don't hate this. I know a lot of people, I already made a video about Kid Goku, and I know a lot of people, I think people feel the same way they did about Base Goku and Base Vegeta, where they were like, this is not what we asked for at first, and then when they got it in the game, they realized it's pretty cool. And now when it comes to Janemba, this isn't killing two birds with one stone, but what it is doing is saying, hey, Janemba and Gogeta are really popular choices, so we're going to put Janemba in, you know? Now, for someone like me who really wanted Kefla, that sucks, because I really wanted Kefla. My god, of course they will. It'll probably be on the PS5 and whatever the next Xbox is called. But Jesus Christ, yes, they will make a sequel to Dragon Ball FighterZ. Are you kidding me? This is a big moneymaker for them. Not only is it a big moneymaker, but it's a passion project they got to make come true, and they're loving it. They love the game. Of course this is happening. Of course this is happening. The game brings on so much attention and so much love. Of course it's happening. So what we will get in a sequel that will probably have updated gameplay with some slight tweaks and differences, which I welcome gladly. I think Dragon Ball FighterZ is honestly getting to the point where it's on its last leg. I can't play it as much anymore and enjoy it as much anymore. With all the changes with the characters from the updates, I feel like I can't just play it casually, because I can't use Bardock anymore, because Bardock's one combo that I love to abuse. Has been nerfed to the point where you can't really do it anymore. So I've taken out Bardock and put Frieza in his place, and I'm honestly thinking about and then I put Android 21 in there, and I'm honestly thinking about training more with Goku, just to have just to have Super Saiyan Goku with me, because I wanted to do that in the first place. So I mean, I'm really, really, I mean, I still love the game. I love the original gameplay and all that, but I'm really looking forward to a sequel. Okay, that's what I'm looking more forward to, a sequel than a season 3 pass. Okay, and I didn't even really want a season 2 pass. I wanted a sequel, but I could say we probably won't get one until about 2021. And what I'm thinking is that the reason why I want a sequel is because there's just so many more ideas for stages, like a hell stage, a stage based on Kami's Lookout. That you could even make it start in the hyperbolic time chamber, and then instead of flying into a wall, you fly to the doing a stage transition similar to how the World Tournament is. But instead of flying into the mountains or whatever, you fly out of Kami's Lookout and you fly out of the hyperbolic time chamber and fly onto Kami's Lookout. I think Kami's Lookout would just be such a cool idea for a stage. Same with the Kame House. I mean, that could just be another stage. Maybe it could be like a secret stage where it's hard to land there, but maybe you get knocked from the islands into the Kami's Lookout area. Stuff like that I think would be really, really cool. I want more stages. Obviously, I want the tournament power stage that looks like it's not happening. Jiren has a perfect stage potential. Same with Janemba, perfect stage potential. And it doesn't seem like it's happening. But also, I want more characters that I wouldn't want to pay for individually. Like, for example, I want Raditz in the game. I want Zarbon in the game. I want Android 20, aka Dr. Gero, in the game. If they put Dr. Gero was the first character that I really predicted that I was completely wrong about. And I predicted him until Android 21 happened. When Android 21 happened, I realized that she has the absorption stuff, and she has the laser beams that Dr. Gero would possibly have. He would have the eye laser beams. She has a finger laser beam. So yeah, he kind of got screwed over thanks to Android 21, but I still think he would be a great idea for DLC, especially now with other characters like other characters like Android 18 with 17, Videl with Gohan. You could have characters like them with characters. So like you have Dr. Gero. Dr. Gero would have Android 19 for part of his moveset. You know what I'm saying? So it could be a potentially really cool character. Same with Zarbon. Zarbon would probably have a transformation move where he turns to a big monster. And or he just fights in his monster form at all times and grapples people. You know, either way, he could be a really interesting character because of that. Or he could just be like this weird, like monstrous character, with his because his big form, he just swings his arms wildly or something like that. You know, he could be something really, really cool like that. Um, then you have, like I said, Raditz. Raditz, I wouldn't know how to make his moveset as much, but I mean, it's there. And considering what they did with Nappa, I have a feeling they could do something cool with Raditz. And it would just be cool to be able to do Raditz and Nappa on the same team, especially if they keep base Vegeta in. Another thing I would really like if they did a sequel would be, of course, Deborah. Again, I don't want to pay DLC money for fucking Deborah. Okay, like all the DLC characters they've done have been just hype enough. Okay, they're all hype enough. Some not as hype as others, but even in my opinion, base Goku and base Vegeta were hype enough. But Raditz and Deborah and Zarbon and Android 20, those four are just not hype. But that's four easy characters you could add into a sequel to make the roster much bigger. That could really bring some new gameplay elements, like Deborah having the stone spit and stuff like that. It would really stretch out the character roster. It would be really badass. And then, of course, you could add in Kefla and Kaba. Now, I wanted Kefla as DLC, but if you're going to do like more characters just from Super in general, then yes, I actually would like Kappa. I actually would like Kappa, and it would be really fun to do a team with Vegeta, Kappa, and Trunks like together, like all like Vegeta's like friends, you know. Um, I also would love it if they did super version of Trunks from the Goku Black arc. I understand why they wouldn't do that because they already have Future Trunks, but it could be one of those ways that they could change up Future Trunks' movesets. If you change Trunks' moveset by featuring stuff from the Super arc, and it's a combination of the old school Trunks with the new school Trunks, and maybe, just maybe, you leave his original costume in the game as an alt costume, so Trunks has both versions, eh? I think a big part of Dragon Ball FighterZ 2 would be alt costumes for every single character. Now, this some of these could be big because for characters like Vegeta, that means you could have his, you know, there's three Vegetas, right? Base Vegeta, Super Saiyan Vegeta, Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. So for base Vegeta, you could easily give him the wingless armor that he wore when he was fighting Frieza on planet Namek. You could easily give Super Saiyan Vegeta a Majin Vegeta alt skin. And you don't have to even make it full on Majin. You could just make it to be where he's wearing the sleeveless jumpsuit with no armor, like he wore when he was in the Buu saga. I particularly love that costume for Vegeta, and was really happy to see that costume come back for Dragon Ball Super Broly. And the reason why I like that costume so much is because when Vegeta first appears, he has a bunch of armor, and then when he fights on Namek, he's missing his like belt piece of the armor, and then once he teams up with the good guys, he doesn't have the wings anymore. Then when he's during the Cell Saga, he's wearing the strap armor, and then when he's on the Buu Saga, he's wearing no armor. And when he's in the Buu Saga, at that point, he's basically a good guy. So I know he doesn't like turn into a real good guy until he self-sacrifices, but to me, that good side of Vegeta was always there, and I think he just got his old past sparked back up, and he really had to acknowledge it, acknowledge the problem, acknowledge the good person he wanted to be during that self-sacrifice moment. But I love that costume because to me it represents Vegeta letting go of the Saiyan stuff and holding more on to his like new pride as a defender of Earth. So, and then of course with Vegeta Blue, you could do the Whis training costume. To me, I feel like it wouldn't even be that difficult to do something like that. I feel like it wouldn't even be difficult to because with like the shading being that different for Goku and Vegeta's Whis trading costumes, which would be both their Super Saiyan Blue alt costumes, they'd be wearing what they wore in the Resurrection of F movie. So not every character could easily have an alt costume. Of course, characters like Cell and Frieza, what the hell would you give them for alt costumes? You know? So I understand why you wouldn't do an alt costume for every single character, unless you wanted some costumes to be goofy. After all, the lobby avatars had first form Frieza and first form Cell, which is perfect for a lobby avatar. But not every character should have an alt costume. I agree. I think Piccolo and Krillin should have their police uniform and street clothes. I do believe so, but maybe not every character should just get. Maybe not every character. You know what I'm saying? So, but it would be cool if Android 17 could fight in his original colors or his original clothes from the Android saga, or something like that. It would be cool if Android 18 could fight in what she wore in Dragon Ball Super. It'd be cool if people had costumes from Super and old school Dragon Ball, and they could bounce between both, you know. Especially if they want to do evil clones for the story again, because if they do that, then they could have the evil clones dressed as their Dragon Ball Z counterparts, while every character is dressed in the Dragon Ball Super versions of their outfits. So you could do that, that'd be cool. So yeah, I mean, the possibilities are endless, but also if they did do a sequel, they could cut some of the characters. Like again, they could change out Trunks with Super Trunks and stuff like that. But for the most part, a lot of those DLC characters would fit in perfectly. Like, there's no way Jiren won't be in the next FighterZ game. Okay, there's no way. There's no way that certain I don't know about all the DLC characters, but there's no way Vegito Blue won't be the next one, for example. They're not going to make you pay for these again. So I think it's going to be like Mortal Kombat X and Mortal Kombat 11, where if they're not in this game, they're not going to come back as DLC. Any character who's cut probably won't come back as DLC. It's probably going to be the way it is, and that's the way it is. So I think for the most part, none of them will get cut. If any, it'll be like Brawly, and it'll just be replaced with Dragon Ball Super Brawly. You know, maybe they'll make a new version of that character where he looks more like he does from Dragon Ball Super Brawly, or you know whatever you know. And even then, you don't even have to do that. If you just make the alt skin for Brawly his Berserk form from Super Brawly, and you just make you could give Bardock an alt skin where he wears his Dragon Ball Minus costume. You could do lots of cool stuff like that, guys. Like there's so many possibilities for alt costumes and possibilities for cut and added on characters, you know? Like would you guys even be mad if Trunks fought exactly the same, but he had an alt costume that made him look like from the Goku Black arc? I think you guys would be kind of happy about that, right? So in my opinion, this is all very viable and very possible. So I would love a lot of that stuff. They could do other fun stuff like make Goten and Kid Trunks playable characters. So I don't think they do that. They could even put Pan in the game to go with Goku GT, and maybe even add in another villain from GT, like Omega Shenron or Android Super 17 or Baby Vegeta. I know a lot of people seem to like Baby Vegeta more than Omega Shenron. To me, I think Omega Shenron is just like the big bad of GT, so I'd rather have him. But you could do that. You could make a sequel for Dragon Ball Fighters that threatened multiple timelines, and then you could even add in the story mode characters like the Time Patrol characters, and you know like Xeno Goku and Xeno Trunks and all those characters, if they wanted to. They don't have to, but if they did Xeno Goku, they could make it to where Xeno Goku is in Super Saiyan 4 at all times, and make his alt costume Super Saiyan 4 straight up from GT. So he would have both versions of Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and it would just be called Xeno Goku or something like that. So that could be really good, you know, angle to get Super Saiyan 4 in at all times while including GT Goku and you know, stuff like that. So there's hope for the future. There's plenty of great ideas for characters that I just listed right there that would be so damn good for Dragon Ball Fighters. So damn good. So honestly, oh, and not to mention, with all these Gokus, we eventually do have to get Ultra Instinct into the game at some capacity. Now, how they're going to do Ultra Instinct, I don't know, but it needs to be in the game in some capacity. So it would be really cool if they could do that. But because Dragon Ball Super is probably coming back, I guess it's still a rumor. We don't know. We'll have to see more about how Ultra Instinct even works. So, again, we might be waiting. And so by the time Fighters 2 does come out, there might be a new characters with new rules at that point. So, I'm really hoping they do explore more of Kaba and the two girls, Kale and Caulifla, because if they do, then that could mean more for them getting in the game for fighters. Because I love all the super characters. I love Kaba. I love Kefla. I love these characters, man. I want them in the game. So it would be really cool if we could get them with some. I would really cool if we got more alt skins in the game. There's a lot of cool stuff we could do. So that's what I'm saying. I'm more excited about a sequel for fighters than I am for Janemba being in the game. But I will say this about our current fighters right now is that uh, Gogeta Blue and Brawly are going to be hype. They're going to breed. They're going to breathe a lot of new life into the game. It's going to be fun to watch them in tournament. It's going to be fun because Vegito Blue, I mean, is really popular right now. So he will be. It'll be really fun to see Vegito Blue versus Gogeta Blue because I think they're both going to be really popular, really fun characters. So it'll be a lot of fun. Some people will probably use them both on the same team, and some people will probably do one on each team, and then we'll get this big Vegito versus Gogeta thing going. It's going to be a blast. So I'm going to end this video here because I was just going to talk about Janemba, and I talked about way more. So I'll catch you guys on the next one.